Good morning, guys. As mains exam is approaching, there is a one question in the mind of everybody that how to improve answer writing, because the success of mains exam is dependent on your answer writing, right? So every student is asking me, sir, how to write a question answer. Okay, and here I'm going to approach step by step how to write an answer. Here I'm going to tell you how to write a good introduction, right? There are some characteristics general characteristics which are necessary in an answer, right? For example, this vital idea. Vital idea means whatever the question is asking, your introduction. Mind that here I am going to tell you about the introduction of an answer. An introduction must have to touch the vital idea, means that whatever the question is asking, it has to touch the idea of the question, keywords of the question, right? Vision to be included in conclusion. You can write something in the introduction with a sense that can be included in conclusion with the solution. Then quote. Quote means if you remember any quote, or if you think that there is any quote is suitable in your answer, then you can put in quote. Short and beautiful. That means the introduction generally must not have to be more than 2 or 3 lines, right? Otherwise it will be monotonous, or you will, if you give much weightage, or if you give more lines in introduction, then you cannot put more points here, you cannot add more lines to the body of the answer, right? Your points will be deducted, right? That's why give a general introduction, short introduction, and beautiful. Beautiful means to the point, no flowery language, right? To the point, touching the vital idea of the question. Then not much preposition and conjunction. If you use very much preposition and conjunction at the very beginning, it becomes boring and monotonous, and it actually decreases the beauty of the introduction. Not direct negative vision. The question might be asked about negative, right? The question must ask negative purposes, with negative purposes, but you have to very tactfully deal with while writing an introduction. Try to give a positive vision, a positive idea as much as possible in introduction. Even though you can give negative idea, you have to use some techniques here. And now I'm going to give some example for an introduction. For example, you see the question, do you think surrogacy is in conflict with Indian tradition? GS4, right? I told you that the question, the introduction must have to touch the vital idea, right? What is the vital idea here? The conflict with Indian tradition, conflict of surrogacy with Indian tradition. This is the vital idea, right? Surrogacy, how I am writing the introduction, you see. Surrogacy, a debated topic at present, is a contribution of technological advancement of 21st century, full stop, no doubt, comma. It is centered around many controversies, but it is overall the proud of motherhood, the motherhood highly placed in Indian society. I have fully touched the vital idea of that is the conflict of surrogacy with Indian tradition, right? How I have reflected the vital idea means the technological advancement, it is centered around many controversies. While writing controversy, I have mentioned about the conflict, right? I have mentioned about the conflict of surrogacy. Here I am not using negative vision, right? I have used the negative, I have given a clue that it might arise controversy, which I am going to describe in the later part of the answer. Here I have just mentioned that there are controversies, okay, but not telling directly, right? It is centered around many controversies, but I have given positive vision here. But it is overall the proud of motherhood, the motherhood highly placed in Indian society. That is means that whatever the question is asking, surrogacy, its conflict with Indian tradition, right? I have used all the vital idea of the question tactfully here. Okay, I am not using much preposition and conjunction here, right? I am not using any flowery language. It is short and it seems beautiful to touch the vital idea of the question, right? Then you see another question, compare nationalism of pre and post independence India. What I write the introduction. Nationalism is an inspiring factor to people since long ago, though in different forms. It might take various forms, being influenced by several factors, but true core remain the same more or less. I have given an introduction with reference to nationalism. I am not diverting from the purpose or keyword of the or purpose of the question. Here I am totally giving an introduction with reference to the nationalism. Here I have reflected the conflict also. How I have reflected the conflict. The nationalism is an inspiring factor to people since long ago, though in different forms. While I have mentioned that though in different forms, it has indicated that it might be different forms, whether it might be good or it might be bad. I have mentioned that influenced by several factors, that factors might be good or that factors might be bad. But here I have used a vision also, right? How I have give a positive vision. Inspiring factor, I have given positive vision, that inspiring factor in that way. True core remain the same more or less, which I can, this vision, true core remain the same more or less, inspiring factor, this I can include in the conclusion with solution, right? In this way, try to write an introduction of any question. Always mind that introduction must be very beautiful, it must be catchy enough. Okay, your first impression is the last impression. Your introduction must be beautiful. Be away from use of flowery language, lengthy sentences, much more lines. Right, it must have to the point. It must have to reflect the core idea of the question. Okay, in my next lecture, I'll try to reflect another points of writing answer.